Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Comics Discourse 114. I'm one of your hosts, Brian Newberry,
I'm Brian Clark.
and this is a Hassan-less show. It's one of the rare chances where it's just Brian and Brian. Hassan is on vacation with his family, so we are flying
Reading
without him.
comics.
Yes, he's still reading a shit ton of comics.
I,
I can't make fun of him though, because Jason and I did a road trip for my birthday, and I got caught up in quite a bit of shit too. So all the stuff from last year, not all of it, but a good chunk of stuff from last year, they've been piled up. I burned through in the car. But well, before we get to some of that, Brian and I are going to discuss another Brian because, just make it more confusing. Um, we're going to talk about Alan Moore's run on Captain Britain, um, which I have read couple of times, and if I'm not mistaken, Brian, this is your first pass at it, wasn't it?
oh, yes.
Okay, well, we'll get to that in a little bit. Well, I've read a bunch of new shit, newer stuff, and Brian, I think got gifted a lot for Christmas, so he's been plowing through some stuff. Um, Brian, what did your lovely wife get you for Christmas this year? She has a habit of scouring best of lists, I think, and finding you
She
some stuff you
does.
haven't read.
Yeah, it's bold of her because she'll take the chance to buy stuff that I may have read or own. So
Okay, I gotta
uh,
ask though, does she get upset like if it's something you've read or already owned?
she does not because she rolls
Okay,
those dice.
all
I
right.
was like, I told her, I was like, you could ask Brian, he'll know.
It's, we text all the time, but it's always
Yeah,
when
I
you
was
want to
like, you could
chat.
ask. Yeah. I told her what I'll try to do. Because I think it's fun. Like I almost try to not buy these books so just to see what she comes up with. And in 2026, I think any book I buy, I'm gonna put it on one particular shelf and be like, these are all the books I bought this year. And then when she gets to to the end of the year, she can look at that and be like, okay, don't buy this one because he has it. Um, so she got me Drome, which I specifically did not read all year because I thought that I was like, this is a perfect book for her to pick for me to get. We'll see if she pulls that off. And she did. And um, I I thought that book was super cool. There is like 40 words in it.
Yeah. Did I mention to y'all on air that I did read it finally too?
Yes, you did. Yeah. I
It
like,
I'm gonna have a counterpoint to you. The art's amazing. I am not prepping on the art at all. Like does a great job. The story just didn't. I need words. That's a me thing, and I
yeah.
know it. Like it is rare that a silent or close to silent issue just like grabs me.
Yeah. It's crazy what Jesse Longren does with that book. Like that dude drew some shit. Like that was crazy. It's definitely like I didn't mention it in my top 10. I think it would probably get in there. It was like I don't think I am super into silent comics. I don't even can't even think of one that I'm like really into. And it wasn't there. I was surprised that there was words. Um,
Yeah, there were so few that I was like, you could have just thrown them out at that point.
mhm. Yeah,
Uh, Hassan did read it too, and it was on his honorable mention. I thought it would make his
yeah,
top 10.
yeah. Also, Assorted Crisis Events, which we did talk about on our show, and I read the first issue when it came out, and I don't know if I was just like not in the zone or whatnot, but I was like, what am I reading? So that I think that book is extremely well done. The art is great. The story is executed very well. It's fairly depressing,
Yeah.
which is tough. I was like, oh my God. I would like wake up in the morning. I'm like, and then read like two stories. And then I'll be like, so Amanda, I read a sort of crisis events. Two people tried to kill themselves. And she's like, "Wow, I really got you some great stuff." I think it's really good. Like, I like reading image books in that floppy trade form. I think it's I enjoy them much more that way because I can just read them, walk around in the house, and not worry about the condition of the book, and it's fairly temporary. Um, Also got, which is crazy to me, a manga called Kingdom, which is like a historical Japanese or Chinese story, and this is by Yasuhisa Hara, and I had seen it recently, and I was like, oh, that looks. I mean, that looks like something I would like. And I did not realize that this has been out for a while, since
I'll say it's
2006.
one of, if I remember right, it's been running for a long ass time and it's still going.
Yeah, it is up in the like list of manga that has reached over 100 million copies sold, along with
Yeah.
Dragon Ball, One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, like the all-timers. It's way up there, which is
And it's just now reaching the US, apparently.
yeah. And Viz started. They had this like signature edition. I don't know. It's like not that different than other mangas. It's not like a hardcover or anything. It's just
Yeah.
standard. I thought it was awesome. It's I like this historical vibe. Like Hara is real into the Chinese history, so he like filled in the gaps with some fiction in there, and it works. It's like Vinland Saga.
That's
I
what I've heard it compared to. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love both of those. Like this historical, like there's action, there's political intrigue. The first book has a very has a lot of emotion in it, and I'm pretty into it. I already bought volume two. Volume three comes out in February.
Yeah, it seems
And
like they're
then
putting out a volume almost every month.
yeah,
Um,
there's 77 volumes in the original run, which beats Naruto. So we'll see if I how I move along on this. But I destroyed Vinland Saga. The other book is Dorananki, which is a crazy book by Miura from Berserk fame. Is a He had created this story. This I guess he wanted to play in the Greek Roman god world, and really like this idea of a being that like was genderless, and him and his studio like sort of reshaped it, and it's this wild idea of many myths coming together to create this I will say person, but being or something like a genderless person that like has like advanced knowledge for like their age and the time. They're raised by Noah and his wife just after the ark has crashed. So we got Roman, like I think there's a lot of Eastern mythos in there, Christianity, and it's just a story about this character helping these other children. A lot of them, the adults having a very hard time that this being is not male or female, and the children not being bothered by it at all. And I was like, oh, this is pretty wild. So it abruptly ends because he has passed away. I think it would have been a really wild story to see unfold, but still pretty awesome to experience.
oh, why you mentioned Berserk, we have to mention while he's not on here. Hassan started it today. I was blown away. I was shocked. And also, Brian bets on how far he gets because volume one and two were a little like, what the fuck am I reading? Why do people love this so much?
I mean, that's not a happy book either.
No, no. And it really takes to volume three to be like, oh fuck, this is good. So I'm wondering because he has not commented. He's just said he's reading.
Yeah, he's gonna get to some spots and be like, "Damn, this is what they like."
Yeah. Yeah. But I need to get back to it. I think I'm still on either I finished the Golden Age arc in like the first volume after. I need to I think I'm on like volume five or six of the hardcovers. I need to get back to it and finish it. But I've been saying that for a while now.
Yeah, it's wait, yeah, I like. The Shirky the witch. I don't even know if you've gotten to that character yet.
I think
That
so.
one of the best characters in the whole story. And like as soon as that character shows up, it like you're like this book got really good.
Anything else in your stack?
That's pretty much the stack, and I'm trying to think if there's like any. Oh, I gotta mention it. Well, I'm sure we'll mention it again. But the meeting of Absolute Wonder Woman and Absolute Batman that came out last
Yep,
week.
I read that as
Um,
well.
it is pretty fun.
Yeah,
They make Batman look real dumb at the beginning. He's just like a meathead. Diana's super nice to him.
I'm gonna reserve some comments because I think if we talk too much, Hassan will just be like, we'll just have to repeat the conversation.
He'll pop up on the show right now.
Yeah, or listeners, if Hassan suddenly joins in, it's because he's edited himself in here to have some commentary. Oh, well, I got caught up on some books while we're driving, like I said. Brian, I had like the entire West Coast Avengers, the new series, stacked up, except for the first two issues. So I read 8 issues of that. Um, wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah,
Like,
that sucks.
yeah, it kind of knows. It's all about Ultron has split himself into multiple different bodies and personalities. Because he realized all the shit he was doing before didn't work. So there's like a good Ultron that has joined the Avengers. And then
Weird.
there's a second Ultron that starts a cult that
Coltron?
fuses pretty much, yeah. Um, I think they actually might have called him that at one point. He fuses machine and man and has all these followers. It's not necessarily a bad thing because he's like helping people, but it's kind of weird. And then there's a third evil Ultron that's like, y'all have fucking lost your mind. You're not real Ultrons. What are you doing? And then you've got the Avengers kind of navigating all of that. Um, I'm gonna spoil the end of the Doom storyline. Uh, that one world under Doom, he's dead in quotes. Um, he sacrificed himself to bring back Valeria, and when he did that, the raiments that made him that are given to the Sorcerer Supreme are destroyed along with him, except it turns out Wanda gets them at the end, and she is now the Sorcerer Supreme in quotes. Um, the raiments pick her, not the Vishanti. So the Vishanti are like, you're not really the Sorcerer Supreme, and they want them back. Wanda actually, while they were being destroyed, she saved them through her little last door thing. That's her newest conceit to help people. Um, and they're attached to her now. And instead of wearing the cloak as a cape, it kind of attaches around her waist. It's kind of funny looking. Um, but the whole first issue is her kind of setting up a council to help her be the sorcerer supreme, but then the Vishanti trying to get their tools back and chiding her that she's not really the sorcerer supreme. Um, we'll see where it goes. I was telling some folks yesterday I would love Wanda to set up her own version of the Defenders. I think that there's enough there that they could pull in some counterparts for Namor, the Hulk, and Silver Surfer to have her own cool little powerful side team. I think it'd be a cool little
That does
storyline.
seem like a good idea.
Yeah. Then what else? Lost Fantasy. I know we talked about it early on. I've read like all these issues are like supersized of that book from Image. I've read like 4 or 5 issues of it in the last week. Got caught up on it. It's when you read the title, it sounds like just a fantasy book, but it's not. It's set in the real world in quotes. So there's a lot of like some politics going on, some crime solving, but then you've got the twist of magic in it. Um, yeah, and I finished the Age of Revelation that finally wrapped up. So that's
I
about all I'll
heard
say.
about Beast
What about
and
what specifically? Like the
that
twist at the
he
end?
is the chairman.
Yeah, it's so during this storyline, Beast and Cyclops from the future were sent back mentally to the past, and the current Beast and Cyclops were sent to the Age of Revelation. We never saw what went on in the past, but at the end, they're switched back. And everybody thought that the past Beast on the X-Men team went forward, but they kind of acted like he'd been acting weird the whole time, but I never noticed anything until they just flat out said he was kind of weird at the end. It appears like it's the current Beast was like the Avengers era Beast, because
Oh yeah.
when Hank McCoy and Krakoa kind of went bad, he created one clone of himself with those memories and kind of released it at the end. So the classic good beast is back out there. Yeah, well, we still have the bad beast, and I think this is what the chairman is, and he's the one that went forward. So he's got all the knowledge about the Age of Revelation, and some shit was sent back with him. So yeah, we'll see what they do with all this stuff going forward. They're relaunching some book, starting a few new ones, and a couple of them are continuing. So we will see.
The only
Uh,
Marvel book I'm reading is, which is crazy, is Amazing Spider-Man.
that is crazy. I kind of have figured you'd say Moon Knight, but
Yeah, I every once in a while I'm like, I'm gonna get into that. I've read a lot of it, but I'm like, it's almost hard to figure out, like if you step away for a second, what the
which
hell
event?
book you're back in.
Yeah, which title? Because they keep rebooting it. Which,
Yeah, and it's always Jed McKay doing some Moon Knight thing.
uh-huh. This one was Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu, and it just ended. And now we're going to
Okay.
have Mark Spector Moon Knight as the next one by Jed McKay.
Yeah.
Like this is like the fourth or fifth Jed McKay Moon Knight title.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm liking them. This one is seeming to it's starting to get a little long in the tooth, so I'm hoping this one, the next title changes stuff up. But each one just kind of continues what was happening before. All right, you ready to talk some Captain Britain?
Let's do it. Let's talk Brian. Brian and Bryan on Brian.
Okay. Well, gonna set the stage for this a little bit. The issues we read, folks, is going to be convoluted, and I'll get to why. Um, so the first Alan Moore came on with Marvel Superheroes number 387. Um, and then I think the title ended at 388, or at least this part, the Captain Britain storyline did. But the Captain Britain storyline we're starting to talk about actually started in 377. So 10 issues before, and Alan Moore comes in for the last two. Then the book jumps to the Daredevils, and it's in issues 1 through 11. Then that finishes and it jumps to the Mighty World of Marvel, Volume 2, number 7 through 16, before it finishes up in Captain Britain, Volume 2, number 1 to 14. Now, this sounds like a shit ton of issues, and we did not read all this. I happened to read all the way through the Moore run. Brian, I don't know if you ended up continuing a little further than we said or not. Um, I just kept going because I was like, oh, I want to finish the story. Um, so Alan Moore came on. Alan Davis was already on the book. And, well, actually, let me step back. Marvel has reprinted this in two omnibuses. Um, I have both of them, but only because the second one, Marvel pulled this thing where they put a shit ton more in the second version than they did the first. So in the first one, it starts with the run, like the issues right before Moore's run, and then goes all the way through. So it's like the last half of the current omnibus. but the new one reprinted a bunch of old Captain Britain stuff, and then this. So I actually have two. And Brian, you've got the second version, the thicker one. Um, Now the reason it sounds like it's in all these issues is because this was printed in the UK. They had kind of anthology titles like 2000 AD. These were all like 8-page stories and reprints of some current Marvel stuff and then some standalone stuff that was just out in the UK. And that's what Marvel superheroes, the Daredevils, and the Mighty World of Marvel all were. And Moore came on this right before he went over to DC to do Swamp Thing. So this was kind of early in his career, although I can't really tell from reading it. But the first omnibus has some text pieces from a forward from Alan Davis and one from Alan Moore. I think they were part of a trade that Marvel did a while back, and they just reprinted them. Um, and Moore talks about when he read his copy, he hadn't read this stuff in the 20 years since he wrote it. So he didn't even know what was happening. Like he couldn't remember doing it. He's like, I don't remember doing this stuff. Like he knows he did it, but he couldn't remember the story beats or anything like that. It was like he was reading it new. Um,
That's pretty wild.
I thought it was hilarious. Also, he's like, you could tell where they got their footing. Um, he's like, it's about 4 or 5 parts in, and reading that before rereading this, you can really tell because the first 4 parts are very like these were 8-page stories, but how many panels did they cram into these things? Like 9 to 12 panels on each page, trying to cram all this story in. And Alan
Hmm.
Moore was like, you can tell like we get a little looser and Alan Davis has more fun with the panel layout and how we're telling the story. And he's like, that's where we really got our footing. And you can tell that once you start reading it. Um, and the fact that Alan Moore just had to come in and wrap up somebody else's storyline before kicking off his own is kind of odd.
Yeah, that's. I thought that was weird, but I think he did it a pretty okay job.
Yeah, I agree. Um, then when you read Alan Davis's intro to it, he's the consistent one through all of this section of Captain Britain, and he talks about the stuff before Moore. Um, the guy was very political, and I cannot remember who wrote it. I don't have it in front of me. Um, and then Alan Moore coming on and trying to figure out how to work with him. And then Alan Davis for a little bit was when Moore left. He was the only creator on it. He wrote and drew it for a little bit and realized that was too much for him to do. So they brought in Jamie Delano, who most folks know from Hellblazer, and they weren't a good mesh to do it. Like the stories he said were good, but they didn't work well together. And it wasn't like a critique on Delano. It just seems like they didn't fit very well. And Delano ended up leaving. And I think Alan Davis might have just wrapped it up. And then Excalibur came about like a year later. Um, anyway, that's all the history of this. Brian, what'd you think? Because I know you've read some Excalibur in the last year, and this is probably your first real Captain Britain.
I'm glad I read that Excalibur because yeah, I don't know anything about Captain Britain, um, other than his name is Brian. And to be honest, like even the connection to his sister and Psylocke and all that is confusing enough. So I was like, I felt more prepared for the wackiness that was about to ensue. Um,
These books are fucking weird and wacky at points. Yeah.
yeah, I liked like it's kind of interesting to see what I would assume, which is ultimately like I guess the birthplace of the Marvel multiverse. Uh, it's weird to be like, oh, this is Marvel. Like I felt like I was just reading some weird like non-Marvel stuff. All these characters are so weird. They like I don't know. What I was going to ask you, do any of these weird ass characters ever show up again? Like
Yes,
like
and
War Dog?
Excalibur mostly.
Okay.
Um, when we get to that team, the special executive, I'll expound on that a little more.
Okay. Um, I think I still have a like hard time deciding if I care about Captain Britain as a character. He's honestly just sort of slapped around
Yeah,
this into, I mean, he literally dies.
often.
Yeah. And you're like, it, he's just like, I'm here. And then like a bunch of shit happens to him. And he's like just struggling to deal with it all the time.
So it's funny you mentioned that because I think Al Moore in his intro even said something similar. Like, here's this straight lace, prim and proper British dude, and all this weird shit is happening to and around him. And that's a lot of the premise of these stories, pretty much.
Hmm.
Um, well, do some quick setup. Before this run, Captain Britain had been sent back to the past, I think, with and had adventures with the Black Knight, um, the one from the Avengers, who had also was also back in the past. And he'd been sent there by Merlin. Um, and then he gets sent home at the end of that, but he's sent to the wrong Earth. And that's the run that's the beginning of the parts before Alan Moore comes in. And the Earth is real. It's twisted. Oh, the Black Knight's sidekick comes with him, some goofy little dude called Jackdaw.
Jackdaw.
Um,
Oh man, he's so fucked up about Jackdaw.
oh, and this is like the only point we see him. Um, well, this Earth is going wrong. There's a politician that kind of turns on everybody and sends this creature called the Fury after all the superheroes and kills all of them. Um, Captain Britain meets Opaluna Saturnine, who is she's a conniving ass.
That
She
name is so weird to me too.
Oh, it gets worse in Excalibur. Like there's different versions of her in the multiverse, like Saturn 9, and then like
Oh,
NINE, and then Saturn 9 with the number. Like there's a whole bunch of twisted versions of her. And she replaces Captain Britain's old girlfriend at one point. Um, well, she is eventually becomes the omniversal magistrix, so she kind of rules the omniverse from Otherworld. Um, there's a lot of weird shit in Captain Britain, and it seeps into the X-Men and even in the Krakoa era. Um, but they get sent to this weird ass world. Opaluna Saturnine kind of pieces out on Captain Britain and leaves him stranded there. Um, and then he's attacked by the Fury, which eventually kills Jackdaw and Captain Britain at the end of it. Like the world's getting twisted and warped, and it's all by this dude called Mad Jim Jaspers. He was the politician, and he is pretty well an Omega level mutant who controls and warps reality. And he created the Fury, but the Fury will not attack him. He put that in place, and the dude's just crazy, like Mad Hatter. It's a lot of Alice in Wonderland stuff going on with him. And we find out one hero escaped this world, and it was Captain UK, female counterpart for Captain Britain in this world. Captain Britain's blown apart by this creature, and that is the end of the, I want to say Marvel superheroes, but it might have been Marvel superheroes for that one. Um, Captain Britain's story is like Jackdaw's dead and he's dead, and we're like, well, What a way to end the book.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Well, then again, it jumps over to Daredevils.
Where I got super thrown off by the cover
Yeah,
because I
it's
thought Daredevil was going to be in this.
you didn't realize it was like 2000 AD where it's an anthology series, did you?
I found that out like halfway through. I was like, oh, I see what they did.
Yeah. Oh, because the cover has Daredevil on it with Spider-Man and then Captain Britain. Captain Britain has a relationship with Spider-Man because they had some adventures back in the 70s together.
Adventure. God, that sounds like quite the. You're like, these two guys had some adventures back in the 70s. You're like,
They
what?
did. I think they were roommates at once, Brian.
Yeah. Roommates.
Uh-huh, in quotes. Oh, one thing we did not mention though, Captain Britain has a brand new outfit. And everybody probably thinks of
Oh.
this as the Captain Britain outfit now because it has
Mhm.
not changed. But it went from this red outfit with like a lion symbol on it to one of the British flag now. And there is a reason for this outfit. Merlin created it and it enhances Brian's powers. Um, I think this first issue of Daredevils is one, they pack like a whole normal size issue into these panels or more.
Mhm.
Uh, I think the Alan Davis art is super cool. Um, it's fucking weird though. Brian, do you know who Merlin and Roma are at all?
No.
Mm. Okay, so Merlin is who we think of as Merlin.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
son of a demon, except he's a magician, he is a master manipulator. Except he is the ruler of Otherworld, we find out. Um, there's always symbolism with him and Roma. And Roma is his daughter. She replaces him after his death. She has some parts. She plays some parts in X-Men because we know Captain or Claremont ends up running Excalibur, but he liked this side of Marvel, so he picked some of the characters and brought them. Like Roma comes into the X-Men with all the mutants and the Sage Perilous, like the Outback era. She sets all that up.
Mm.
Um, they have a lot. Otherworld is a major plot in Excalibur. Um, but with Captain Britain, I keep saying Captain Marvel, Captain Britain dead, Merlin and Roma are resurrecting him. They have a hip bone, part of his hair, a piece of his hair, and I think part of his outfit. And Roma is responsible for rebuilding his body from that hip bone. And then Merlin is rebuilding his spirit. And so she's pulling super science while he's doing some magic. And we're getting the whole history of Captain Britain during this. So if you've never read
Which was
Captain Britain
helpful.
before, yes, this grounds you a little bit. Um, it tells about like the stuff with the Black Knight and him choosing the staff over the sword, his early adventures, all of it, all the way up to him getting killed by the Fury. And we get this awesome panel where his body's been reconstituted, the outfit's on it, and then you have Merlin just shoving his soul back into him. Um, but then Merlin throws him back through the multiverse and he lands back on the right Earth. So he'd been on that crooked Earth with Jim Jaspers, and now it appears that he's where he should be. Um, as this goes, we see Merlin and Roma playing a chess game throughout this for the rest of it, and it turns out that all the shit that Captain Britain's been through on this bad Earth has been to train him and get him ready for what's coming to this Earth, to his home Earth. Because Merlin's nothing if not manipulating and playing games. But Captain Britain goes home. He's so excited to be back. Um, but he goes back to Braddock Manor, which has been destroyed. But when he gets there, it's standing, and he's like, "What the fuck? My house has been destroyed. It was bombed out. What? How is this here?" And while he's walking through it, he gets visions of like his old housekeeper is there who helped raise him. And then his dead parents' skeletons are in the basement. He gets a vision of him banging out some girl. That's what he was doing when his parents died instead of him being there helping him. So he feels guilty about all that. And it actually turns out it is Mastermind, the computer that his dad built, um, had taken over and projected a hologram that the building was destroyed, and it never really was. So it's been standing this entire time, and he's the mastermind's been manipulating the housekeeper. So she's real. All this rest isn't, except for I think the skeletons might actually be real. Um, and the computer has gotten so advanced that it has taken over the caves below the manor, and they're all like circuitry. The entire cave system is circuitry, and it's super powerful. But Brian is an engineer. I don't know if you knew that one. I don't think it's really mentioned here, but he was a scientist, and
Mm.
he finds the right part of this computer. I don't know how in a cave, and kind of gets rid of the mastermind personality, but still has the computer.
He could sense it, is what he
Yeah.
was saying.
Ugh. Um, well, at this point, Betsy comes in. Brian has not seen his twin sister for years. And every time they put her with blonde hair, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like she's had purple hair since this point.
Well, I guess
And we're,
even the purple hair throws him off, though.
yeah. Oh, he hates her purple hair. Like in
Yeah.
Excalibur, he hates how she looks. Um,
She's a kid over it's the 80s, man.
and I'm a supermodel. Um, But Betsy, the phone just starts ringing at the manor, and he's like, "What the fuck is this? Nobody knows I'm here." What's Betsy calling? She is a little different than the Psylocke we know now, and even from when she first comes in on Claremont's book. She is a telepath to a point, but she's also a precog. So she can see the future a little bit, not very strong, but she's joined the UK's version of SHIELD and in their psi division, and somebody has taken over that government agency and is killing the psychics because they know that it's been infiltrated, and it's been infiltrated by one of Captain Britain's old villains called the Vixen. Um, but she's hired this dude to start just taking out all the psychics. So Betsy's called Brian for help, and while they're talking and he's critiquing her life choices because he's a dick. Um, One of them's taken out, and Betsy pretty well just has a seizure in the middle of this cafe they're in. Um, but the dude taking him out is one of Captain Britain's old enemies called Slaymaster, who ends up being one of Psylocke's arch enemies.
That dude. Oh my
Weird
God.
looking.
All yellow looking. Yeah. I was like,
He's
his name
very
is
odd.
Slaymaster.
Yeah. He's like super fighter. In the future, Betsy replaces Brian as Captain Britain for a little bit.
Hmm.
And Slaymaster, this is before she joins the X-Men, beats her real bad and blinds her, cuts her eyes out.
Oh God.
So did you know during the X-Men, before she becomes Agent Psylocke, that she has bionic eyes?
I did not know that.
So at the start, she can see by reading everybody's mind around her. But then she's taken in by Spiral and given new eyes, but they're cameras, so everything that she sees is being broadcast as a show to the Mojoverse.
That
So
that is fucking wild.
yeah. Yeah, Slaymaster, because of what he did to her, becomes one of her like arch enemies. He pops up every now and then.
Yeah, you cut out my eyes. You've become an arch enemy.
Yeah. Yep. Um,
He is not much of an opponent for Brian though.
well, he gets a couple good licks in because somehow he
Yeah,
can see like weird pressure points and weak points on Brian, kind of like Karnak from the Inhumans. Disables his arm, but
yeah. I guess that's fair, but a lot of you
even
see
though
him get it.
he's go ahead.
No, I was saying you see Slave Master get beat up a lot, and I love. There's a panel where Brian is holding him by his uniform, like he's like just a rag doll, and
Yeah.
he just backhands him in oblivion, and I'm like, "Pooh," and then and Slave Master just pops up like, bloop, I'm cool.
We like throws him across the street into a
Yeah,
newsstand, and dude just pops right up. I was like,
yeah.
he might be able to fight good, but he's not like super strong. I don't know how he just wasn't killed. And it's, um, but in the background, I think Slaymaster was hired by Arcade on a contract, and Arcade actually is an enemy of Captain Britain too, because while Captain Britain was going to college in America and he was friends with Spider-Man, Arcade kidnapped them both. So he's got some beef with Captain Britain. Um, and when he finds out that it's Captain Britain who took out his guy, he's like, now it's personal. Um, but I like this next issue a lot. Brian asked about one of the characters. Um, there is a team that comes up called the Special Executive. Brian, did you notice in the background there was like a comic stand during the fight and it says coming soon, Saturnine and the Special Executive. It was a Forbidden Planet store, actually.
Oh, I did notice the Forbidden Planet store. I almost like took a picture of that to
Yeah, but
send.
right below it, it's alluding to what's happening in the next issue.
Oh, that's crazy.
Um, because there wasn't a newsstand he threw it through. It was through the window of Forbidden Planet that Slaymaster went through.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. So Brian hadn't seen Saturnine since she abandoned him on that other Earth, and her team left him. Well, this other team of weird people has been hired by Saturnine to get Brian to testify on her behalf. But we don't know that. Instead, they just come in to the manor and take out everybody that's there. So you've got Betsy's now moved into the mansion with Brian, Betsy's boyfriend, who's one of the psychics, as well as the maid. I think that's currently the only people living there. But this whole issue is this group infiltrating the manor and taking out everybody. Um, one of the characters in it is kind of like the shadow thief. So he's able to walk through walls. One of them's called Cobweb. She's this weird psychic. Um, one, I can't remember what her name is. She's ends up being part of another team later. And then you've got War Dog, the one Brian talked about. It's like this big ferrety looking dude with a metal hand. And he looks like he's wearing like a workout tracksuit.
Yeah, that dude, all of them. I was like, this is some wacky looking shit right here. Like,
Yeah, the Shadow Thief guy is the most human looking one, but his face is all sunken in and creepy.
he's have red
Um,
eyes.
Cobweb, I think, is a woman, but I can't describe
Cobweb.
him.
Yeah. Cobweb.
He's
Every
very,
time I would see Cobweb, like, yeah, their gender, the way that they present, or the way Alan drew all of that character, every panel, you're like, what am I looking at? What is this character? Like, perpetual bedhead.
yeah. Um,
And did you mention because they're not in this picture, but Legion.
No, there's a couple that pop up later. There's like two or three more that pop up.
Yeah.
Legion's a little like troll looking green dude, um, but
But
muscly
has a
as hell.
relationship with Cobweb?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell.
They mentioned it and I was like, what? I thought that was a frog with a goatee.
All right, Brian. So you ask if any of these characters pop up later.
Yeah.
So there is a team that comes in during Alan Davis's part, and then a lot in Excalibur called Gatecrashers TechNet. So TechNet is a big group of mercenaries, and some of these people end up on that team.
That sounds very familiar. Cause
I
like
think when you were reading those Alan Davis issues, I think TechNet pops up during those.
yeah, cause I feel like I'm looking. Huh, what a team.
Yeah, so Scatterbrain is the one that's the green hair lady that's on this
Yeah.
team. She ends up on TechNet.
Hmm.
Um, I think she's the only one, but I want to say Legion. Well, no, Legion's sort of killed, but I feel like they've popped
Yeah.
up as
I
well.
feel like I've seen Legion in stuff before too, but yeah, definitely didn't have a great outcome in the story.
Yeah. Well, the team again attacks everybody at the manor, including Captain Britain. But Scatterbrain kind of disables him in the end, and they take Captain Britain with them, and they're going into the multiverse. In their ship, and Captain Britain wakes up and starts beating the shit out of Legion, the one that Brian's talks about. That character's powers are to pull themselves from various points in their timeline. So it's all the same one, but it's just different versions of them. And they're so he could have like an old army of himself. The reason they kidnapped Brian was because Saturnine has been put on trial and is being removed from her position as head of the Omniverse because she's being blamed for the Earth that Captain Britain died on, the corruption that happened there, and that will spread to other universes if it's not contained. And the person that's judging her is the person that will replace her if she's found guilty and killed. So, that person has no conflict of interest there at all. Um, so Saturnine's only hope is to prove that she was not responsible for it, and Captain Britain is the only one that can do so. Um, but Saturnine fucked him over by leaving him there, and he's like, "Why would I help you?" And she's like, "Yeah, you. Why would you?" Um, but she starts crying and kind of convinces him to help. But this is kind of, I think, I feel like this is the first time we're getting other versions of Captain Britain besides Captain UK that we briefly saw. Because his guards are, I think, like a Captain Albion and I can't
I went
remember.
down a rabbit hole of
Oh God, did you start researching all the Captain Britons?
no, I was like, I've heard the term Albion
Oh,
and didn't really understand what that was. So then I started understanding what Albion it was like the original like UK name.
well, and we've seen it before in The Authority with Sliding Albion, the other version
Mm.
of Earth where Jenny Sparks was banging that blue alien.
Yeah, I because it sounds like just like a often used fantasy world, which I guess it
Yep.
sort of is, but is connected to Great Britain. Being an American, I don't have this. We don't have ancient United States. We
Uh,
do, but it's doesn't have a cool name.
it's not that old.
Yeah.
Okay, so Captain Britain is introduced to Captain England, who is a bigger, buff version of Captain Britain with part of his outfit cut away. So he's showing some skin. And then Captain Albion, who is a lady, who is very smartly dressed, and in my
Yeah.
opinion, I like her outfit. Um, in the background of all this, we start seeing the Fury coming back. Like it's trapped in this world that it's destroyed, and there's nothing left. And that's part of what Saturnine's being put on trial for, is because this world has that Earth and reality is being destroyed, and it was destroyed by the Fury. Um, but the judge, Mandragon, is hearing the case, but he also has the power as overseeing the omniverse right now to destroy and get rid of cancerous parts of it, which is what that Earth has become. So he does so. Like Captain Britain watches as this dude destroys an entire reality like it's nothing. Like he doesn't, like it's just wiping his butt. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when he does so, the Fury's still there. It survives the
Oh, no.
destruction of an entire reality. That is how dangerous this damn thing is.
That was some severe focus. It was
So
like,
guess
well,
what?
I guess I gotta float around until I end up back where Captain Britain is.
Guess what? The Fury ain't going away. Um, we flash back to Earth where Captain UK is. She's having nightmares about the end of her reality. Well, the end of her team before she is sent to Earth. One of which is Miracle Man getting killed. So I
Yeah, that
think
was
that's
cool to
funny.
see.
Yeah. But the Fury decimates her entire team and kills all the superheroes. Like they're the last ones left, and her partner um, sends her to Captain Britain's Earth, and he's left behind and killed, and she's like teleported out right at the destruction of her team. Um, Captain Britain tries to testify on Saturnine's behalf, but Mandragon doesn't really give a shit because he's wanting the power and he's finding ways to set it up to not believe Captain Britain or get him thrown out. Um, there's a big knockdown drag out fight with the special executive helping Captain Britain fight all the guards. Um, but they eventually grab Saturnine and get the hell out of there. Um, and they go back to Earth. But during all of this, we see the Fury has been sent to Earth as well, and it's barely alive, but it starts killing like rats and cats on the street and then starts absorbing people to build its body back up. Like this is like a Sentinel from the X-Men, but a hell of a lot worse. So it
Oh
is
yeah.
like a robotic cybernetic organism, but I feel like it's more like the Technarch, like Warlock's race, but not quite. Like it's a weird mix, but it does not stop. It's super powerful. It can kill anything. So Captain Britain's like fucked when it gets to him. Um, I do love this Alan Davis art though. Like he draws the hell out of these battles, um, and all the characters. Um,
Yeah, there's a and it's just funny to see all these battles because all the characters are so weird.
yeah. Like,
Like there is no like nothing feels familiar except for Captain Britain, who is barely familiar to me. I'm like, what is going on?
well, I love one of the characters on the special executive is like it looks like a floating gold plate with a little like rock on top of it or something. Like I don't even know what the fuck it is, but
Hmm.
it's part of that team and is shooting lasers and killing people and all that shit too. Um, they end up back at the manor, and then Captain UK shows up. But while they're there, like she's holding the paper, and it's Jim Jaspers calling for the superhero legislation, which is exactly what happened on her Earth. They pop on the TV, and he's given the exact same speech that he gave that allowed him to take over the UK and his Earth and begin the destruction of it.
Something that I find very wild was they are in that crazy battle, and then you you get back to them, and they're all like chummy, and the amount of funny faces that Brian makes cracks me up. And then after, like in the next issue, they're like all lounging around on a couch watching the TV, and it's just it's like I mean, this is very common in comics, especially in the 80s, to have everybody hang out like this. But this is what like movies and shows will never do, is have all the characters just like living their chummy lives in their outfits. Like it's just wild. It's so weird.
Well, I do like this one page at the beginning of one of the issues. I think it's Daredevil's 9. Um, they're all sitting on the couch in, to your point, Brian, in all their outfits, but Alan Davis does it where there's like no other light in the room except for the TV.
Hmm.
So you have the glow of the TV illuminating everybody with like deep shadows all around. And I'm just like, you don't see that often anymore. Like people doing that level of detail in art and
Yeah.
comics. Um,
There's a cappuccino on the ground, and
uh, Legion's back there playing with itself.
War Dog is like creeping on Cobweb, and Cobweb's not into it.
No. Um, at this point, Captain UK is having a massive breakdown because she knows exactly where this is going with Jim Jaspers taking over. And she's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Y'all are on your own. And Captain Britain's just trying to convince her to help. The whole rest of this story is a lot about her um, reliving her nightmare, not trying to break down, and ultimately helping out. Um, there is a creepy scene where Roma's in a hot tub with her dad and they're watching Jim Jaspers. Just like, I'm like, I hope they're wearing bathing suits. And then explicitly you see that Roma is wearing like a Princess Leia bikini, sitting in a bathtub in a hot tub with her dad playing chess, 3D chess with all of these characters from the story. Like that's her dad, dude. It's just weird.
You don't know how that planes of existence handle that stuff. It's
Oh,
fine. They're fine.
but yeah, Marlin and Roma are making their little moves to control what's happening in real life. Eventually, the Fury tracks down Captain UK because she's just run out of there, and she's about to get destroyed when Brian comes out. Well, she's about to get destroyed, and Merlin actually puts his hands around her figure on his chessboard, and his hands are like blasted to char, but she is protected. And in the real world, she's protected and she doesn't know why she's not dead. Um, but then you're like, why did Merlin do that? Like, he lost his peace. Why is he intervening? Brian comes and has a knockdown drag out with the Fury, which does not go well. The entire team comes out there. Legion is destroyed, so they figure he's only got like 2 weeks tops left to live because one of his bodies is gone. Cobweb starts losing her mind because she can see the future a little bit, and following all this battle and stuff, it's messing with her big time. Um, she sees all the stuff with Jim Jaspers that's going to happen. It really fucks with her. The battle with the Fury does not go well. This special executive team gets their asses handed to them, almost completely destroyed. Captain Britain gets tore up, but one of the members from the special executive cannot get hurt by the Fury, and that's the Shadow Thief guy whose name I cannot remember. Um, he is what turns the edge on the fight with the Fury, and the team's able to pile it on, and they don't destroy the Fury, but they trap it in the caves under Braddock Manor. and they decide they got to hightail it out of there. So they head to London. I think, yeah, that was the end of the Daredevils run.
Does
Um,
the Fury escape?
yes. So I was
Because
going
I
to
was
ask, did you
like,
read past this?
no, I
Okay.
I assumed like because they escaped from a deleted universe that they could get away from rubble.
Yeah. So I suggest continuing to read. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but the whole rest of this is kind of Days of Future Past like.
Mm.
Jim Jaspers takes over the UK, and it starts like it seems like it's been months. Um, the first, the next issue of the story is the first appearance of Megan, although you will not recognize her at all because she does not look like she does in Excalibur. Um, but it's very Days of Future Past where all the super beings are put into concentration camps, including Betsy. And it's just becoming like that world that Jim Jaspers destroyed before. And it's all about Captain Britain and these folks turning the tide and fighting Jim Jaspers and everything he does. It gets real trippy, um, but it's a pretty damn good story. Um,
Oh, I flipped ahead and I saw the Fury.
yeah, it does come back and it plays a major role in how this all goes. Um, but Alan Moore finishes this storyline and then he is out and the book's turned over to Alan Davis. It does set up a lot of the otherworld stuff. And the cat starts to set up the Captain Britain Corps and a lot of that stuff that's kind of in the background of, well, the forefront of Excalibur and in the background of X books from here on. So what'd you think, Brian?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It is wild to sort of see Captain Britain get shaped like this. And I still like I had to like look up what his powers were because he just seems to be strong, which I found out
Yeah.
he's one of the strongest characters in Marvel. Uh, and he can fly. And he like I it is like I love the Alan Moore Swamp Thing stuff, and it's got a very similar vibe to that. Um, but yeah, I mean, I like I had to pay attention a lot, like because I was like, I don't know who any of these people are. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of like weird stuff to pay attention to. So I kind of enjoyed being able to do that.
Well, we'll say it gets weirder by the end of this, especially when TechNet comes in. They're they're fucking hilarious, but weird as hell. Um, yeah, I when I read this for the first time a couple years ago, I know Captain Britain from just Excalibur. This version is a little different. In Excalibur, Brian is a lot more arrogant and an asshole. He becomes a drunk. He's really
I
shitty to
did get
Megan at
that from the
times.
Excalibur I read.
Yeah, he's real shitty to Megan at times, and he does get better. Like he gets redeemed, especially more recently. Um, but yeah, he seems like the straight man and just reacting to this crazy fucking life he's got, and I like all the craziness. And it's just weird shit you don't see in a lot of comics. I mean, again, some of this is you don't see it to this level. Some of this has been incorporated into Marvel a lot, but it's a lot crazier here. Oh, we didn't talk about you saw the birth of 616. We kind of glossed over
Oh
that.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
had recently researched that for I don't know what reason, just so that then I was like, I don't know what that's from actually. And
It's
then
over here.
and then I read it and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, so they identified as Captain UK and Captain Albion from Earth 2 something. I can't remember what their numbers were. I know Saturnines from Earth 9. Um, but then they mentioned Captain Britain from Earth 616. Yeah, that's the first time it's ever mentioned. And for some reason that caught on. And this random UK comic that, you know, we didn't even really see over here. Um, I think that's just crazy.
Yeah.
Were you gonna keep reading?
I will keep reading. I have a lot of Captain Britain to read.
Yes. And I am gonna keep reading after the storyline, even though I've read it before. I'm kind of in, so it's a good point to just keep going. Because again, we get the next storyline is really where we see Megan. She appears in that issue I told you about, but the next step is where Alan Davis comes on full time. Then we're introduced to Megan, and then all the other zany ideas that Alan Davis brings to the table. So, all right. Anything else, Brian?
I think the only thing we missed out on doing was discussing our favorite Brian Boland covers, just to add some more Brians. I don't know if I have
Oh,
one.
I was
I
about to say not off the top of my head. I'd have to look on
some
that.
Judge Dredd number one.
I say Austin will say some Batman thing, and I'd have to find some 2000 AD thing.
His Animal Man stuff.
Oh,
Oh, I know what it is. I know what my answer is. It's Wonder Woman number 72.
and now I'm gonna have to look that one up.
That's a pretty good one. She's like very like mythical and warrior like on that cover. But I think my actually
Oh, I have a okay. That cover. I gotta. There's a
yeah.
statue of that cover. Did you know that?
I I didn't, but it doesn't shock me one bit. That cover is awesome.
I have that statue, and that statue is notorious for breakage on her ankles.
Hmm.
For
I can
some reason, I love that statue. Mine is snapped at the ankle on one of them, on one of the legs, but it's notorious on that specific statue. But as soon as you said 72, I'm like, I think it's that one, and it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that cover rules. Judge Dredd number one, that cover's just cool too. Where he's got like a, a perp all strung out.
Well, all right, folks. Well, join us next week. Hassan will be back. We are going to do something slightly different. It is very comics related, but we're going to watch some 90s comics cartoons and talk about a couple of them. So different series. There will at least be an X-Men animated series episode in there, probably Spawn, and a couple others. So going to watch them, see how they stand up today, and then talk about the various comics they're based on. So join us for that. In the meantime, find us on all your favorite social media platforms at either Comics Discourse 114, and a couple of them are just Comics Discourse. But you'll find us with either one of them. And if you get a chance, leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to this at. We'd appreciate it. All right, folks. Well, thank you, and we will catch you next week.
See ya.